Hello and welcome to day 2 of the Lock and Load 2019 GameFest here in lovely, slightly overcast Bellevue, Washington. And we are here bringing you the Masters Semifinals.
Yes.
So this is not the Iron Gauntlet. This is not the LCQ. This is from the
Masters
Masters tournament.
Either.
Yes, also true. That started yesterday, and we are here now in the final couple rounds of that tournament. So we've got a game for you between Matt McWaters and Ben. So let's go hit up these boys and see what they're bringing to the table today.
Ben is playing Gareth 2 in Defenders of Ios.
Hey, don't sound too excited. It's very early for us.
Yes.
We all just walked in.
Yes.
But Matt McWaters has got the Harbinger in Faithful Masses today. And they're just now got their clocks, and it looks like Ben has either won the roll-off and is going first, or Matt won the roll-off and has opted to choose side. I'm going to go for the former. So he's beginning his deployment. He's got some Dawn mowers out there. He's got some big boy battle engines happening.
And Harbinger is in Defenders?
No,
or
Faithful.
Faithful Masses.
There is no Defenders.
It's early.
Yeah, it is very
very early.
And
I was up very late. I don't know about you.
No, I went home and did stuff.
It's Harbinger with a big old chunk of Crusaders.
Yeah, she's got a big battle group. She's brought two pairs, as it were.
Yes.
4 Crusaders with her today. And then, as you can probably imagine, she's rocking 3 packs of initiates. Yep, 3 packs of initiates.
Because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, just got to keep that stuff up. She's also got a couple paladins and such for it. So this is probably going to go very attrition-y is what Matt is going with here. He's just going to brick everything up and start martyring everything.
It'll be interesting to see how the Gareth 2 list with all those guns handles those initiates and their shield guards.
Yes. That is the thing, has been bringing a lot of big gnarly guns. And when push comes to shove, the Dawn Mower can literally just roll in there and start going through the...
Can it? Can it though with Harbinger? No one ever kills my people ever?
It probably depends on how many bases Matt gives to Ben for impact attacks and things, that kind of stuff, or and AOEs and big gunshots and multiple shots and spin up the rounds on the Dawn Mower. All right, looks like Ben cruised through his deployment in about a minute and a half. Let's see how Matt does here. Whoa, as an earthquake destroys our stream setup, thanks to Tony sitting down quite violently. We are playing on a very pretty table today featuring Le Mirage as our scenario.
Which is a very live scenario, generally speaking, but these armies are not going to be specifically playing to scenario, I don't think.
Yeah, it's going to probably be how much can you... It's probably going to be a case of how often can I score my zone and my close flag while contesting the enemy stuff. That's where the scenario is going to be. If you're not super familiar with the scenario, it's 2 circular zones kind of offset from each other, and then 3 flags kind of cruising through the wickets here, diagonal across the table. And then you also have an objective in each of your zones.
Yes. And both sides have very survivable solos to stand on flags.
Yeah, I was actually just kind of glancing at the list just to sort of see what the solo count looked like. And I definitely see you got a couple champions, you got a Hand of Silence. Paladins are probably just going to go into
6 or 7 solos that all are going to be fine.
What's the Paladin stance called again off top? I forgot.
Stone and Mortar?
Yeah, thank you, Stone and Mortar. Yeah, you might just see a Paladin go and sit on a flag and be like, I'm just going to AFK here for the rest of the game.
And those champions of the Paladins of the Orders of the Wall, of the Protectorate of Menoth.
Yeah.
That's a lot of words for... But those things are dangerous, and they can be out on a flag on their own, and you're not going to want to get near one.
What does Gareth bring to the table in terms of his solos here? He's got some Arcanists. He's got Iris and a Fane Knight.
Yep.
So he's not swinging for the fences in terms of putting big, beefy dudes on those flags.
That's not just a Fane Knight. That is Fane Knight Scarith.
Oh, not the
Scarin Issith.
Who's the attachment guy called? I forgot. It's way too early for me
Fane Knight Guardian.
Thank you. Okay, so I was right. It is a Fane
Yes.
Knight. Yeah, this is like way too 9 a.m. for me to be like pulling every like name out of the database on top of my head.
It is.
We got a question in quick chat from RuneWise asking if there's any Kicky Monks, and no, there are no Kicky Monks in the Faithful Masses list.
He does have a unit of Forge Guard with a Attendant Priest.
I like that.
Which
That's saucy.
Yeah.
I'm
And,
down with that.
Harbinger will be able to help keep them alive as they get up. So. It's going to come down to how well Ben Beckman can manage his clock against McWaters, I think.
Okay. So you think that the clock is going to factor heavily in?
Yes, because Harbinger can eat up some clock time with keeping things alive, and so Ben's going to need to be aware of that early on.
Excuse me.
And not let himself fall behind on clock.
Yeah, he's going to spend time. Oh no!
So
there's a tree catastrophe. There's a catastrophe tree. Shoot, I totally borked that pun. Anyways,
catastrophe.
Real quick,
Is that the word you were looking for?
Yeah, catastrophe. Thank you. Oh no! Ben is charging across the table. FYI, he's been just declaring some charges on some of Matt's stuff to get a little bit of extra distance and generating power tokens. The sniper team at the top of the screen also charged just to get a little bit of extra distance.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be. I see two lines of play here, which is either Ben just sets up a line here and says, "Cool, anything that walks forward, I'm going to shoot."
Yeah.
Or he's going to be like, I'm going downtown. I'm going to Narnia, and he just dives deep into Matt's lines.
Yeah, so we don't know who won the role to go first.
No, we do. It was Ben.
Oh, it was Ben?
Ben went first.
And he chose to go first and he's going to try to grab as much board space as he can early on.
And for those who are curious, the terrain layout on the board at the top of the screen is a forest. They just pulled off the. Let's telestrate here. We got a forest up there. We got a piece of like rubble right there in. Okay, I like this.
We got trees.
Yeah, that's some solid MS Paint skills. We've got some another set of trees in the middle of the table, and we have a hill down the bottom right of in Matt McWaters. It's that big gray thing.
This is a hill.
Yep, it's sort of like. It's kind of like a layered, like a temple plinth kind of thing. Probably the very last hill you might very well see at a Privateer Press event.
Like that.
And we got some rough terrain there. It looks like some water, some shallow water. And by the way, the reason this might be one of the last hills you see is because when the Oblivion Rules remix comes out,
hills will be gone.
Yeah, we have removed hills and elevation from the game. So
I was talking to a lot of people who were very excited about that last night.
Yep, it is. Excuse me. It's just hills are like a kind of a staple war game piece of terrain.
Yes.
But they oftentimes can be a little bit more problematic than they can be worth. Obviously, you have some wobbly model syndrome when people are trying to get the models in there.
You know what my favorite thing is when my gorgeously painted models just roll down a hill.
Yep. There have also been like something of a rules quagmire as far as the War Machine Horde's rule set goes. So
I remember back in the day with Gatsby 2 standing on a hill on his rec marker.
Yep.
He sets up Fort Asphyxius. And he's like, this is where I'm going to hang out for the rest of the game.
It looks like Ben's finished up his last couple models, trying to figure out where he wants to stick them. There's also like a big like tower obstruction thing in the kind of the top tip of Matt's friendly zone, the big gray circle that's not the other gray circle.
That is correct.
And then there's also a couple walls you might kind of see.
It looks like there are some craters on Ben's side.
Yeah, I think that's rubble.
Yeah, it's going to be rubble.
Yep.
He's going to get cover while he's in it, and it looks like his objective is actually in the rubble.
Oh. That's actually a good question. If you could find out what their objectives they selected. Okay, they both took healing. Thank you very much, man in my ears.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
Matt's getting his boys up there. So he's putting his Crusaders kind of in the firing line, but I think that's the point, right? They're going to go stand there and be, hey, if you want to shoot at my guys, you can. Spoiler alert, you're going to get charged when that happens.
Yeah,
so.
and they are going to survive charge from the Tridents, whereas Initiates might not.
And the choir, by the way, this is very relevant, just prayed no shooting onto the Crusaders.
Is that relevant? The Retribution guns tend to be
you're right.
magical.
They're like all magical.
Yes.
The better question is what Retribution guns aren't magical?
I don't know. The heavy rifle team is going to be a non-magic gun. But there's not a whole lot outside of that.
We got a couple of people asking things like what's in the list. I'm going to give a quick rundown of the lists. We don't have any like visuals to post, but we might kind of jump, back and forth on kind of, let people know what's going on in them over the course of the stream. But first, Matt playing Minoth is bringing Harbinger and Faithful Masses. She's got her Hierophant buddy, 4 Crusaders, a couple of Paladins, and a couple by 2. Vilman, a Hand of Silence, a pair of Champions.
Those are
champions.
champions.
That's a mechanic. Sorry, I was trying to read his handwriting.
Yeah, those are champions of the Paladin of the Order of the Wall, which is a non-character
3 packs of Initiates, and then Choir, and then finally Forge Guard with their Hierophant attendee buddy.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Initiates were his free cards.
Yes. And then if you want to, you got Ben's over.
Then we have Gareth, Eye of Vengeance, being played by Ben Beckman. Beckman, yeah. And he has Morose, a Chimera, a Hydra, and Silas Wishnailer. And then he's got a heavy rifle team, an Arcane Force Generator, 2 Dawnguard Tridents, 2 units of Electromancers, 3 Arcanists, Iris 1, and Fane Knights Gareth Issen.
It's
Scarethin.
And I'd like to point out that Twitch chat has got my back today because Tridents aren't magical.
Oh, they are not?
Yeah, I knew what I was talking about. Twitch chat's always got my back.
I don't know the rules. And
oh, I mean, I know the rules. I just can't, spout arbitrary stats off the top of my head at, I woke up literally, 50 minutes ago, so.
The one thing I remember about the Trident more than anything is that it has a shield.
Sure, why not?
It's a tank with a shield. I mean, if you can put a shield on a tank, you should put a shield on a tank, right?
I like the. I really want to throw out there that I like Ben's green paint scheme.
Yes.
It's like a classic, deep green, like a forest green.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good. I like it.
I'm a big
It's
fan.
classic, is what it
of
feels like.
Alternate paint schemes.
Like non-studio.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Boop.
And then Matt is also using a very classic paint scheme, which is largely unpainted.
Yeah, he's got some stuff out there, but Matt usually plays paint. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that Matt's probably borrowing models from a friend to play this list for this event. Because I know he usually has painted stuff. And at the top level, a lot of these players oftentimes share armies. And that's very common.
I've talked with a lot of members of the community. He's probably preparing and practicing this list for the WTC, which is just a couple months away. So they are well into their practice period for that.
That's very, very likely possibly a big reason why he doesn't have it all donezoed up today for us.
The list that they did not choose, if anyone is curious, Matt's other list was High Reclaimer in Exemplar Interdiction with only 1 Judicator. He was not playing double Judicator in that list. And Incinerators and a bunch of other Exemplar stuff.
A 0 in there too with a Dervish.
And Ben was playing, his other list that he did not choose was Issyria in Legions of Dawn. So I would wager that Matt saw all those guns and felt like with the number of shield guards he has, Harbinger would be better into it, I guess.
So Hand of Silence there, we just kind of heard through the little mic we have. He was just talking about his Hand of Silence he just had to walk up there and touch the zone. He wasn't comfortable with where the final position was just because some positioning errors he made and not factoring in where he won that medal to land. So I think Matt might feel that model is a little hanging out at the moment, and if Ben so chooses, he might have an opportunity to pull that guy off the table if he wants to put the resources into it. Yeah, and let's I'll kind of give you an example of exactly what I'm talking about. Is the Hand of Silence was right there, and he went there, and I suspect what happened is he either didn't have enough distance here, or he maybe don't have enough room to land here behind the wall. So.
Okay.
The end position is right here. And what we're not getting, I think the important part of this is he's not going to be getting that wall benefit that probably extends, the cover from to about right there. And that's why it's like, I don't, we have a little bit of a slight perspective weirdness because of our, position looking at the camera. But like, there's like a possibility, this guy gets up here, maybe he takes some shots if he wants. I guess it probably kind of matters on how essential the Hand of Silence is to Matt's game plan. Or, here we go, next level, 200 IQ, Galaxy Brain. Matt was just saying that to bait Ben into taking shots into the Hand of Silence so he doesn't put shots into...
That is possible.
Next level.
So,
That's some psychology of War Machine right there.
So that's where his hand... Where are his initiates right now? Where are his 9 shield guards hanging out?
They are... I'm not... this is going to be difficult to illustrate but there's like packs of them, I'm pretty sure. I think that's a pack right there. These are Hammer Dwarves, right?
Yeah.
And these might also be the Hammer Dwarves. But there's definitely some initiates in the... Oh, yeah, see? Okay, he pointed them out for us. All right, here, I'm going to clear this real quick for you. So I was right. There's a pod kind of in here.
Yeah.
There's a line here kind of.
Yeah.
And some bros back here.
Okay.
And then let me get you guys back to the old scoreboard arena.
Ben just took an apparition move, probably for Morose, who has that ability when he is... with Gareth?
You're asking that with a question mark.
I was asking that with a question mark.
You got your war room up too. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't think that's his bond. I'm pretty sure that's not his bond.
I would. Yeah, I don't. It has been a long time since I played Retribution.
Gareth has Mirage. He probably had cast on him.
Yeah, he gets acrobatics while he is bonded to Gareth.
Yeah, it doesn't get apparition.
Okay.
You have the other A ability. So you were close.
I was in the ballpark.
Yeah.
I have played Retribution in the past, but not since their CID and their dynamic update. So I'm a little behind the times on them.
And then there's also one of the light jacks has apparition, the Arc Node one.
Yeah,
I never remember the names of their Chimera. Hold on. Look at my boy here. Yeah, okay, my boy Zich Lord free usernames. Yep, apparition on the Chimera has my name. Got the name for you there.
Yep. I'm being massaged by a passing Danny.
Danny's passing in the night?
Yes.
All right, we got a couple attack rolls going out here. These are shots from the first Trident.
Yeah.
He's spinning some power tokens to get some boosts and stuff out there. I mean, there's also a world where you just start taking the attacks to force Harbinger to martyr and start getting herself low on life. That way life becomes infinitely more difficult for her and critical turns.
You definitely don't want to let her just do what she wants for the entire game.
Yeah, you need to put her in a position where on those essential turns, like 3 and 4, that you are having to force her to stop and go, well, hold on, I only have 4 hit points left. Can I really afford to martyr this or whatever the case is, right?
Yeah.
Which Gareth is this? This 2? Yeah, this is Gareth 2. Yep. Yeah, I saw someone ask that in Facebook. Yes, this is Gareth 2, and you're right. When I said Mirage earlier, I was thinking of Gareth 1.
Yeah. So that apparition was probably just the Chimera and not Morose.
Yeah, see, I'm looking at it from more, where we see that. I'm pretty sure it's not Morose's model. He's got the big hunch. He's hunched over and he's got the big swords, the big blades.
The ninja swords.
All right, Arcanists are doing their arcane things. They're kind of wandering around, throwing out some focus. I think you just tossed a couple on the Harpy there.
It was on a Hydra, I believe. He doesn't have a Harpy in the list.
Then it's probably the Hydra. Good in Morose. I guess the only problem with Ben's paint job is it blends against our green table.
Yes.
And so it's a little bit more challenging to spot the models.
I'm looking at the
list.
list.
It makes it kind of a Where's Waldo game.
I'm looking at his list, and it says Hydra, but it says it's a 9-point model, so that is likely a Harpy, and he just wrote the wrong.
He also, and I can even see the Harpy now in that camera view. So do we disqualify him for that? No,
I don't know.
No, it's fine. There's Iris. She's going to get in her into a pool. She's taking a shot at somebody, but she's taking. I think it looks like Matt's going to be shield guarding. And then she looks like she's going to dirtle back into a little bit more safety.
Matt's going to definitely have to hold shield guards the entire game, specifically for Iris, as long as she's on the board, because you can't risk Harbinger getting shot by Iris.
And it looks like his name is just. There's so many Y's and S's in Iosian names, but the Fane Knight looks like he's going to go and take a position on that flag. And that little tower that we had to catastrophe earlier is just blocking. I can't tell if Matt's got something on his flag or, I mean, he has the scenario priority as player 2, right?
Yes.
So he gets the luxury of not having to commit anything there yet, where Ben has to kind of set himself up right now. However, what I like is the Fane Knight is a really good play there on the flag because he's a Dragoon, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you have to really kill him to get him off the flag. He's going to be on the flag for a while until he doesn't want to be on the flag.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing here.
Do telestrate for me.
This trident right here, is it within 4 of this flag?
I'm going to bet that was probably his intention.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with yes.
So, and there are not enough. Matt does not have enough stuff over here
to commit to that trident to get it away from the flag.
So Ben has effectively eliminated that flag from the scenario.
But the sort of the counter proposition to that is I'm basically positive that Ben doesn't have any soups, doesn't have any solos in this quadrant, which means that Matt doesn't have to worry about contesting the flag because there's nothing that can go over there and score it, right? That makes sense?
That's true.
So, I think there's some value there as well. I think that kind of keeps the card in Matt's pocket. It's there while he wants it.
Yeah.
But again, this might be a situation where Matt just says, hell, let's just go the time on this one, buddy. I'm gonna grind you out.
Yeah.
And we'll see how live scenario sort of is in this matchup.
Yeah. And Harbinger tends to be a caster that does not win on scenario, but will stall scenario long enough to get ahead on attrition.
Cool. We also just gotten let known that the Harbinger, I believe, just did her first martyrdom of the game.
Okay.
And she just took 3. So you can see Matt just started putting some damage numbers into his phone.
Quasitor 8086 asks if this is SR 2019.
This is the...
It is not.
Yeah, it's not the new one. That goes live next week-ish.
Yes.
I don't know dates.
Right after lock and load.
We got some Electro. And by the way, I'd like to point out that I love that Ben is using Electromancers because they're some of my favorite models and they're some of my favorite rules, and they don't get a lot of table time all the time, and I just think they're really neat. And I think it's interesting because I think this is a good matchup for them.
Yes.
Assuming that shield wall on the initiates is less of a factor for some reason. Them putting out their D3 POW 10s into guys can either force Matt to have to pull him off the table or force Harby to eat a lot of martyrdoms, right?
Yes. Or at the very least, it forces him to waste shield guards on low quality shots.
But again, a lot of that is kind of contingent on the them not being in shield guard for one reason or another. Maybe if there's a pull or a push, or I don't know off the top of my head. There's a variety of things, and I'm not super intimate with the game state to make a call on how that's going to all kind of flow out.
Yeah.
But they wandered up. They put a couple shots, I think, into the jack, probably disrupted a little bit, and then they re-put back into safety.
And the Arcane Force generator is now shooting.
Whoa. He put a box card brutaled into a guy, but the initiate's taking it. Pardon me. Oh, looks like okay, so it looks like they're taking some damage, and Matt looks like he's he tapped the clock over to himself to kind of I think he's trying to decide if he wants to like chain shield guard this down the table since he's concerned about the AoE and the because this is a Rift template basically, right? This one got some
which is going to be a problem because there's not a lot of Pathfinder in Minnow.
Yeah,
and now it's right in front of those hammer dwarfs.
And the champion eats a 7 damage shot to the face.
It's fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he loves it. They've got like 10 boxes or something, don't they?
Yeah. It's 8 or 10.
Yeah, they're big, beefy boys. I know the Twitch chat will get my bag before you even can possibly get there in War Room.
It is a race.
This is our new game, racing against Twitch chat.
10 boxes.
Oh, God, man, I'm on fire today.
But unfortunately, Harbinger can't save it from becoming unmounted with Martyrdom.
But hold on, I am wrong. Tin Can Sniper's got my back because he's right. They don't have shield wall anymore. They used to have that way back in the Dizay, and now they just have the when they're all tutsing each other. They
wall of steel.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was thinking of, and that's what I said incorrectly. Yeah, they got wall of steel. So, well, they start out like 17 armor. I think they go 1921. I think when you have all three of them together, I think something like that.
Oh, the
initiates.
They don't have wall of steel. They have a special rule.
Yeah. They got the.
It says they get +3 armor
when they're base
for
to base.
each one that's in base to base.
Yeah.
Unbreakable wall. Thank you, Tin Can Sniper.
Yeah, my boy.
You are making all kinds of friends today, Jeff.
That's because I rely on our fan base to cover. Sometimes when we make boo-boos. All right, that person's going on a magical adventure. Yeah, the Electromancers are just going to Narnia. And this is definitely, so there's not like a lot of guns and stuff going on in Matt's army, right?
Yeah.
And so this is sort of the challenge is Ben can put those guys way off on the side like that. And here, actually, let me kind of, telestrate my action here. So these Electromancers went off to Narnia. And sort of the benefit of this is there's basically nothing over on Matt's side of the table that can, like, threaten that far.
Yes.
Right? There's nothing. Right? So where that gives Ben a lot of love is he can just kind of walk forward and, like, shoot things if he wants to, or if push comes to shove, he just, like, runs them in deep and says, okay, cool, here's 3 models that are behind your army. You got to kill them before you can score your zone.
Sooner or later, Matt's going to have to commit resources to dealing with those guys way out on the flank, and he's not going to want to. He does not have a particularly fast army.
Chili asks if they're going to Narnia. See, that's in public domain. So, yes, they're going to Narnia. That's less branded. B Dragonly is asking something about Hills going away. Yeah, we kind of touched on it earlier, but I'll kind of, we'll kind of revisit it over the course of the stream today because I know a lot of the people who aren't here at Lock and Load will have questions about that. But there is a rules sort of remix, I think is what the technical term we're calling it, that's coming in Oblivion. It's basically a new digest rules that collects all of the cool things like all the errata that we've published into the actual rule book. So instead of like being like, oh, I've got my physical rule book and then I have to look at War Room to see how the sentence changed or whatever, right?
Yep.
It's all just going to be edited in there now.
It gives you a single source for all of the most updated rules.
And then, we're also actually changing a couple of the rules to improve the gaming experience. And sort of the big one that we've talked about is hills as a terrain piece are going away. Mm-hmm. This is just for both a modeling and simplicity perspective. And
yes.
And what was the other thing I was about to say about that?
There were a lot of changes coming, and you can find out more about them if you go on YouTube and watch our keynote from yesterday on Privateer Press Prime, our YouTube channel. It is already uploaded there and available for everyone.
Yep.
Okay, I stand corrected. The videos from the keynote are available on YouTube, and the entire keynote can be watched again on Twitch.
Yep.
A2D is predicting a clock win.
We could put what are the? Oh wait, we probably shouldn't like bet on it. I'm about to give odds, but I don't think that's. I mean, I agree. Like clock is a huge part of this like this strategy going on right now.
Yes, it is. I would expect that is a major win condition for Matt's list in general. Who do you think is going to win this game, though, Jeff?
So I'm biased because Matt McWaters is my best friend in the entire universe. That's not actually true, but he's a buddy of mine.
I was hurt. I thought I was your best friend in the entire universe.
I have many best friends in the entire universe.
I don't think you understand how best friends work.
Hey, I get to define that. I can live my own life. I can live my life my way. I'm the Mario of my story.
The word best, by definition, means only one.
I mean,
there can only be one. Do I have to start cutting people's heads off?
Wow. You like the Highlander?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Let's kind of get back to where the boys are here in their strategy. I think Matt's kind of going a little bit into the tank. I think he's figuring out where he needs to spend his resources and where he has to commit things. Because the AFG and the Tridents are not easy to pull off the table. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, all of those things are difficult to remove. The Arcantric Force Generator, AFG is kind of the colloquialism for it, has Carapace, or as we call it, Carapace.
Is that what we call it?
And it's got the polarity shield. You can't charge it thing on it.
That thing is very hard to remove,
especially. So it's very difficult to shoot, and I mean there aren't even any real shooting in Matt's list.
Yeah.
And then you have to basically walk up to it, so you have to kind of be hitting hard naturally.
And Matt's hardest hitters are only speed 4.
Yeah, his Crusaders. So that thing's probably I'm just going to call it that I don't think the AFG is going to, it might not even take damage this game.
That is, things would have to be going very badly for Ben for that thing to take damage, I think.
And then, we see Matt kind of figuring out distances, because this is what we were talking about a second ago. He's trying to figure out, I've got these Electromancers who are free contesting bots. Mm-hmm. They are robots designed for one purpose, contesting zones. And now he's trying to figure out what he needs to do to kill these guys.
It looks like Matt has moved one of his champions of the Paladins of the Order of the Wall over to his right, onto that right flag. And that champion is going to have to deal with a Trident. It looks like on its own. So, and now
Becky Red asking, Jeff, what cool T-shirt are you wearing today? That's a good question. Which Jeff? There are two Jeffs.
I'm guessing she's talking to you.
Am I noted for having cool T-shirts? Is that a thing?
You are the only one on this stream whose T-shirt is actually visible, since I'm wearing a privateer.
We'll talk about T-shirts later, Becky. And by the way, if anyone's curious, we are entering the bottom of 2. I think I kind of saw a turn-based question, but Matt McWaters is the second player, and he is currently bottom of turn 2 right now. And he's still sort of sorting out his differences. What Matt's talking about is he's kind of running the numbers in his head. If he's like, okay, if I've got like, what's the speed boost that Harbinger has?
Crusader's Call.
Crusader's Call. Thank you. He's like, if I got Crusader's Call and I got this and I get that and my range is 21, can I get here? Blah blah blah. He's confirming. The other good thing is he's confirming all of his distances with Ben. He's saying, listen, I have this measurement, confirm or deny that, this is within 19 or 21 inches or whatever the case is. So this is what you're going to commonly see at high-level play is they oftentimes make sure they're working with their opponent.
Yes.
That way you overall have a positive, gaming experience for both players, that you don't just go, oh, it's 21, you move, and you're good to go, and your models are there, and the guy's like, whoa, hold on, I'm sure. So what you'll see happening a lot with players playing at these top tables.
At this level, you don't want to have
there's a lot of, holding out their measuring tape, being like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Are you seeing the same thing? This is my plan, walking through it together.
You don't want to have any disagreements as a result of ambiguity. So if I were Matt, this would be a situation where I would be making hard decisions on what I'm willing to give away.
Yeah, this is the peace trade, right?
Yeah, and he wants to brick up so that Harbinger can keep as much stuff as alive as possible.
Yep.
and anything he sends out will be out of martyrdom range.
There's also a couple things, like, there's also a world where Matt just says, like, hey, these 2 Crusaders are just going to run over here. And these 2 Crusaders are going to, they're going to run over here or something. They're just going to get places. And then he passes clock and says, cool, how are you going to deal with those?
You can spend a lot of time now not really making any forward progress.
Yep.
And then you can get some of his board position back in the process.
Yeah, that kind of puts the scenario initiative in his hands, where the onus is on Ben to, okay, well, Crusaders are a bunch of, ARM 19, 32 box or something like that, heavies. There's a couple of them. Oh, by the way, right behind them are a bunch of these initiate dudes. They're all arm a gajillion. They've got martyrdom. How many attacks do you have? How many dice can you roll? Cool.
Yes.
Pass turn. You got to kill these, otherwise I'm just gonna start scoring, TPs.
Yeah.
All right. So Hand of Silence is on a magical adventure. He's running 16. He's skirting the the template. They're just pulling it for convenience sake. Getting a final resting position. All of Matt's stuff is kind of positioned around the template. And I think they've basically acknowledged we know where it is, and we're just going to pull the template for the convenience of moving models around it.
Yes. Which can be a problem when you need to put a difficult terrain on top of a blob of troops like that.
And then his little Hierophant buddy went up and gave the magical shoulder massage to Harbinger and healed her for 2 or 3. I think she's back up to 16 now. Something like that is what I saw on Matt's phone real quick.
Has anything actually died yet in this game?
No, this is all... has anything died?
Yes.
I don't
believe so.
Here, better question. Will anything die this game? Like I said, there is a lot of big, hard-to-kill bases on Ben's side of the table. And then he's matched up against a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't kill and can't die.
Yes.
So I think we've just been having all of his maintenance phase. No, that's not true, because we definitely had the guy walk up and heal Harbinger.
Yeah.
But BT Dubs, we mentioned it earlier, but we'll call out again. They both have the healing objective, which is can you even conceive of taking a different objective with Harbinger? Is there a universe that exists where you don't take that objective?
I mean, Menoth does not have a lot of Pathfinder.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, with Harbinger specifically.
I mean, no, I cannot. I agree. I would 100% take it every time.
Also, I think here's the other notable thing. So Matt has passed the clock back to Ben, and you'll note that at the end of the day, Matt didn't really do a lot. He put all of his people in a big blob.
Yes.
Passed clock and said, cool, I'm contesting these flags. I'm at 43 minutes. I passed the clock to you. You're under 40. What's your play? That's just the question that Matt's asking here.
And
pardon me.
You have right here.
That friendo.
He is, I'm guessing, contesting this flag here.
Yep.
Which basically eliminates scenario from the game for at least a round. Unless Ben can start killing some contesting models.
Yeah, so that's kind of if I was Ben here, what I'd probably be doing, well, the thing that everyone always has running through their mind is, well, I'd probably be doing something and not spending so much time thinking about it. But as someone who has played at a high level, as someone who's watched a ton of high-level play, there are times you just got to figure things out. You've got to math it out in your head. You have to lay out your plan.
Yes.
You spend the time now so you don't have to spend the time later when you feel the burn, right? So, my point is that this is probably where Ben is going, what are the attacks I can put into the models I need to kill to score some points so that the pressure gets put back on Matt to make sure that when the clock runs out, when the clock is getting low, he's kind of feeling the burn that I'm not just passing the clock because I'm scoring and nothing his models can do about it, and that he doesn't run out of time in that point. Tony, if you could actually do me a real quick favor and find out if Matt scored a point there at the end of his turn, and find out what the seat. Thank you so much. So we're going to send a runner here. Because I believe Matt probably should have scored his zone, and Ben should have probably scored his zone.
So Retribution scored, and so did
Yeah.
both sides scored 1.
Yep. Okay. And so, just confirming there. In fact, the action of Tony asking the score was both of them saying, "Oh yeah, we both scored 1. We forgot." So
if you were Ben right now, what would your plan be?
So, Tony, if you want to hit me up with the old top-down view, if you want to hit the magic top button for me. So, I think this is my flag of du jour, as it were. Simply because this thing is just gnarly for Matt to get around, right? This tower is just like, this is horrible for Matt, right? I mean, and I should point out, it's not horrible. It's actually good because it also just gives Harbinger something to stand behind and never move. But it's kind of like that double-edged sword, right? So this thing is both a blessing and a curse because it really limits a lot of Matt's mobility around it to this flag, which means that this bad boy, if he can get up here and start ruining some days and we can get a solo over there, you get into the situation where Matt has to overcommit resources to ensure security of the flag. So you can take us back down to the low angle view here for a little bit of this action. We've got some dice rolls happening.
And Ben just took a shot. I did not see it but it was shield guarded and then martyred.
Sounds about right.
And Harbinger took a single point of damage from that martyr. Some good low rolls.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you're Ben, do you start trying to throw away models to contest the Matt's zone?
I think you probably don't bother as long as you are ensuring that you're scoring your own zone.
So you think that they both just score a point every turn?
Yeah, this could be one of those games where like they both randomly have 12 points at the end.
Okay.
Right? Because every turn they're just going like, and I scored 1, and I scored 1, and I scored 1, and I scored 1, and I scored 1. Right?
People are making friends in Twitch chat.
So it looks like Trident, we'll call that Trident A.
Okay.
For above the screen view is getting into contesting zone of his Broseph the flag. This doesn't surprise me at all. This is the obvious thing. The question is whether or not where he puts these gunshots. Let's see if we can see where Matt's pointing and stuff here. Probably collecting a little bit of his force tokens and such.
Matt does
force tokens, right? That's what they're called in this one?
Yes.
It's kind of like the same ones that like the Strider gets.
The Strider, I believe, gets power tokens.
Okay. Should try. I'll get my back, I'm sure, here in a second.
There's
rolling up his shots. Oh, I see. That Paladin. There's a Paladin right there on the flag, and we point out that bad boy. Yeah, this is what we were also talking about, too, right? There's going to be a dude who goes onto this flag and says, you know what's cool? Stone and Mortar.
Yeah.
And you know what? I really wanted to be on this flag for the next 7 rounds.
And he has the support of a unit of initiates standing behind him to shield guard any really dangerous shots that come in.
Yeah. So this is the point in the game. Yeah. Now that the more I kind of look at the board state, and granted, the board state hasn't truly matured yet. We're kind of be hitting that next round, rounds 3 and 4. In fact, I probably even dare say like rounds 4 and 5 is where like we're going to see the weird stuff happen, right?
Yeah.
Because that's when models are going to be dying or dead. And all that kind of fun stuff. And we're going to start seeing people trying to score flags and such.
Yeah.
But we will probably go a whole nother round of this game without another model on Matt's side of the board dying.
Yes.
Here's some more shots coming in, and he's just shield guarding them.
As you pointed out, Harbinger's in a place where she can safely martyr down real low.
Yeah, she's basically unattackable for all intents and purposes.
So... But I think that if Ben really wanted to push, he could get a slight edge. And all he has to do is give away one model, throw it into Matt's zone, go up by a single point if he scores 1 and Matt doesn't, and then just try to maintain a status quo. Because it's going to be harder for Matt to do the same thing to him because he's not as mobile.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, the mobility is real low on Matt's side of the table, right? And then Psycho had a question about where we're. Hey, and then look at the chat gets to that. Yeah, we're at the Bellevue Hilton this year. This is the second year we've been here. It's a great location. If you are familiar with either Bellevue or if you've been to Lock and Load in the past, which we've probably hosted a Maidenbower.
Yes.
For all our fans out there who've been here, the Hilton is located like literally 2 blocks away.
Yes.
It's from the Maidenbower. It's like 2 blocks south.
Yes.
If you go out that front door and you just go straight for 2 blocks is where we're located.
You know what my favorite part of holding it here over the Maidenbower is?
I know, but hey, what's your favorite part about holding it here instead of the Maidenbower?
Free parking.
Oh, okay. Well, that was what I was expecting, but you're absolutely right. I totally forgot about the parking.
I zigged when you were expecting me to zag.
Because last night we had this exact same question, and one of the parts I love about this place is that it's just got like a restaurant and a bar, and like a bunch of cool hangout locations just like built into it. It's very easy and casual just to meet people at the restaurant and have some fries or have a beer, right?
Yeah, and if you're tired, your room is right there.
Oh yeah, and that can't be understated. Holy smokes. Not having to walk to the Maidenbower from your hotel. A2D asks, what was Matt's second list? We talked about him a little bit earlier, but he's playing High Reclaimer and Exemplar Interdiction, and Ben's second list is Assyria and Legions of Dawn.
No, Matt's High Reclaimer list is not a traditional double Judicator list. It only has a single Judicator, and then it has Rovan and Co. and a unit of Incinerators.
You got Avengers and
Min Errands. It's very troop heavy.
So it probably is. It's probably for very specific matchups.
Mm-hmm. And earlier I speculated that Matt, who is a WTC Canada player,
yeah,
he is likely practicing for the WTC. So
yeah, a lot of people
he might have
the events
bigger weaknesses in his list because they are designed to be played in a team format.
Yeah. A lot of this can just be them workshopping the list specifically.
And he is just a strong enough player to get to the Masters semifinals.
And I'm not super familiar with Ben, but it's very possible or likely he's doing something very similar. I don't know how much he travels and stuff, but he's doing great so far this weekend. So.
Yes.
Ben is a WTC Germany player thanks to Tin Can. See, Tin Can's he's on fire today. Yeah, so both these folks might be bringing lists that could have been specifically designed for this event, or parts of it are them practicing in an environment, in a competitive environment with their list for WTC.
And Ben is apparently a WTC Germany player that is living in Cincinnati, which is
where all the great sitcoms from the 60s come from.
I'm guessing that's Cincinnati, Germany?
I doubt it.
No?
All right, so we got Trident is cruising up. This might be a melee attack to slam that guy. He's powering up. He's boosting. He has boosted. Oh, those are... I'm sorry. Those were not boosts. Those were him rolling up the guns and which gun has how many shots.
Oh, I stand corrected. Cincinnati is in Ohio, not Germany.
Wait, were you saying that non-ironically, asking if it's Cincinnati, Germany, and not knowing that there's a major Cincinnati is a big town in America?
I know what I said.
Okay. All right, so I apologize. What I was trying to say is Matt just got dismounted.
Okay.
Yeah, he's dismounting.
And now they have picked up the tower to measure, to determine, I think they're...
And so what's happening here is Jack, who is our table judge, the handsomest, or tied for handsomest person in Privateer Press with Tony Konachek, IMO. But what they're trying to determine is he is getting dismounted. And the Paladin of the Order of the Wall.
Champion of the Order of the Wall.
Yeah, the champion of the Order of the Paladin of the Wall, the champion, is getting dismounted. And what he is trying to determine is when he places the dismounted version of him.
Yes.
He
wants to make sure that he's in martyrdom range.
Yeah, he wants to make sure he's in martyrdom range and still contesting the objective.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like Jack is determining that he can be positioned in a way where he will be protected by martyrdom and contest the flag.
So, all right. So, yeah, the big question Matt had there, and what they called the judge for, was to determine that when he gets dismounted to his infantry form, is he still in contesting range of the flag while still being within the control range of Harby, or not the control range, but the command range for martyring him. And this is just to force more resource expenditure on the case of Ben to have to kill that model, and making killing that model difficult because Harbinger is going to martyr. And that's actually just what happened there is he put more shots into the Champion of the Order of the Wall. And he took his tough check, then he martyred, another tough check, martyr for 1.
We are having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, we just had our screens just bopped out a second ago, so that's why I stuttered. Yeah, we had some sort of like little power surge. But real quick, Twitch chat, do us a favor and confirm for us that you are getting your video feed. You still have your video feed, and Facebook, if you would do the same, and just let us know that you guys are seeing the action happening here, because we lost our screens for just a second.
So, do you think this is feet turn for Ben?
Feet turn for whom? I'm sorry?
Ben. Do you think Ben will feet this turn?
Remind me what Garrett 2's feat is again?
Garrett 2's feat is, I believe, called 0 Hour, and it lets when enemy models move into his control area, a friendly model can shoot or melee attack them.
Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. So it looks like everyone's saying that we're good to go. Facebook's good, and Twitch is good.
We look like we're good.
Yeah, so it looks like we just lost picture for a split second. We don't even know if you guys saw that or not. It might have just been on our side. So yeah, we Gucci. Everything Gucci. All right, so it looks like the Trident, by the way, backed off after putting his shots into the champion. The Electromancers are walking up and putting their gajillion shots probably into him. Matt's taking his tough checks and then martyring. So doing the D3 damage rolls. Each of these pairs of rolls you're seeing is basically the first single die is him rolling up how many damage rolls, and then the other pair is the checks.
And it looks like the Electromancers are going to play a skirmishing game where they move up, shoot, and back up instead of making a hard run down the flank.
Yeah, this is. I would say that if I haven't made some more serious gain, if I was Ben, and if I hadn't made some more significant gains on like figuring out my scenario presence in this game by about the time I hit the 20-minute mark is probably when I would start sweating.
Yes.
However, it's very likely Jaboy over here, Ben, is probably a lot more hardened in these kind of situations than my constitution would hold up to. I would say Matt's getting pretty lucky. He's getting a lot of 1 point. He's like making no tough checks, but he's getting like nothing but 1 hit point martyr checks. So, so it's like can't roll the 5, always rolls the 1. Doesn't roll the 5, hits the 1 like every time. Is that tilting? Should I tilt off that? Would I be like, man, I can't get all the tough checks, but I'm always getting the good martyr rolls? I guess it all kind of it all kind of comes together. It's all coming up Millhouse. Right,
so Ben is back in the tank.
Yeah, well, I think he was probably. I'm gonna bet he was hoping to either have dealt more damage to Harbinger through martyrdoms, or killed that model by now.
Yes.
So Gareth is getting himself. I'm gonna bet that's a mage sight.
Putting a mage sight down, and his feat token, it looks like, is sitting out there now. So whether or not he's declared it, it looks like he's planning on feeding this turn.
Making some shots. Well, that's a good roll. So this was he basically put a big gunshot into the dude and said, "Screw you, I'm tired of your BS," and took him off the table. However, what Matt was pointing out there is he's like, and this guy hands a vengeance, and this guy hands a vengeance, and this guy gets a hand of vengeance, and this guy gets a soul. So he's just like trigger, 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 trigger.
Tony, when you get a moment, can you find out how many hit points Harbinger has left? And he did declare that Gareth is feated. And because I guess if you don't do it this turn, when do you do it?
See what Harbinger.
So Harbinger's down to 4 hit points,
All right.
which is maybe 1 martyrdom left.
I mean, that's 1 guaranteed martyrdom, right?
Yes. After that, any potential martyrdom can kill her, and you just can't anymore.
So the big question is like, does he martyr himself down to 1, heal himself up, and hope that the heal rolls go his way, right? He can get what? Is the Hierophant heal D6, right?
D3,
or
I believe.
Okay.
And the objective will heal her as well.
Yeah, so he gets upwards of 6 total hit points if he gets some lucky dice rolls there.
And, I mean, Matt might feel safe enough with where Harbinger is that she can just spend focus to heal back.
Yeah, exactly, right? He just goes, I've got 100 focus because I'm Harbinger, blah, 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 and just heals himself back up to whatever. And that's where that building really comes into play.
Yes.
A big part of Harbinger is, like, she is literally like a teenage girl with teenage girl stats, right? Like, any teenage person is like def 14, arm negative 100 kind of thing. And so if she takes a gunshot, if she just even takes like a hand cannon,
yes,
she just dies, right?
Yeah.
And that's why you're playing like this. You're walking the razor's edge, right? Of how low can I get? And when you have a building like that, that's just like, oh man, here's this huge thing that you can't see me through. That's nice.
It has been pointed out that Harbinger's not close enough to the objective to receive the heal from it.
Oh, good call. Good call. Yep. Yes, Ben did feed. And Retribution's now at 3 CPs, and Minoth is at Dos Areno at Dwa.
That's because
3-2.
Fey Knight Scareth Isin scored on the flag after removing that champion.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
3-2 in favor of Ben.
I was sharing the mouse with Tony. We were fighting over it, like the remote control, their TV dinners. All right, so again, what happened there is we had that champion here, right? He finally got killed, which allowed our boy Scareth to control that flag and this zone. And so the score was 1-1, which meant that Ben goes up to tree, and Matt rescored his zone, putting himself up to 2 CPs. But there's no other. But this guy is contesting that flag.
And so now I don't know what Matt does to get back in this. Like, he can play attrition, continue to play attrition, but he's just behind. Is clock now his primary win condition?
I mean, that's a world for sure, right? If you're always just playing 1 or 2 CP, or I'm going to go ahead and kind of hedge my bets. But I'm going to say if you're just playing 1 CP behind, it's kind of like it's a resource, right?
Yes.
CP is either 0 or infinite as far as the game is concerned until you have got that threshold that wins you the game.
Yeah.
So it's a resource just like your boxes or your focus or anything like in the game. Your CP difference doesn't matter until it loses you the game, right? That makes sense? So if Matt can basically always ensure that he's just always got a 1 or 2 CP difference between them, it doesn't matter if the score ends up with Ben having 30 CP and Matt having 28.
Yeah.
As long as Ben's clock runs out and he loses the game, right? Like that's. So I don't think Matt is feeling the burn as far as scenario goes. I think he just needs to, as we talked about earlier, he just needs to always make sure he's scoring his zone and contesting at least one of the elements of Ben's army, so that the CP score is only ever a separation of like 1 or 2 or something, right?
And Ben is currently down on clock, but I feel like he is in a position on the board where he can afford to start taking shorter turns.
Yeah, right. And that's the offset of kind of what I was talking about with the CP score is if Ben sets himself up in a position where he's always scoring and not running down his clock, if he's maintaining like really quick turns, if he's baked that brownie real well.
Yeah.
Then he's just always getting me in a situation where he's like, cool, my turn, sweet. Score my flag, pass turn, 10-second turn. Now when we get to round 7, I just win because I'm winning on 1 CP, right?
Yes. And like he can spend a few activations each turn just doing damage just to keep Harbinger honest. So she doesn't allow her to heal back up because she doesn't have to martyrdom every turn.
Yeah, you do the number of attacks you need to do until she's put herself at like 3 hit points or whatever, and you go, cool, pass turn, right?
Yeah. But he's not desperate to remove as many models from the table as he can every turn at this point.
I have a legitimately interesting. Okay, actually no. I was about to ask Tony to see if any models have actually died, but we do know that at least the champion of the Order of the Wall has died. So we've got at least a casualty out of there.
Yes. And there's a good chance that is the only casualty so far.
Yeah. Some martyrs happening. We got a tree martyr there. It looks like.
And that that looks like it was off of a feat.
Yeah, probably
attack. Because the paladin up on the top side has moved into that zone.
Whoa, we got a cranked damage roll right there. Okay, so it looks like Matt has also feated with Harbinger.
Was that a question, Tony, or we
don't know
are
if
not
she's
sure if she's feated?
Yeah, probably not. In fact, this is probably a game where her feat just isn't used.
Yes, her feat is not relevant at all. It's not going to do a lot of damage to the stuff on that in Ben's list.
Yeah. And actually, why don't we actually read out what her feat does just to the audience real quick, and we can talk about like why that's a thing.
Yes.
In the meantime, the champion got up there and looks like he cranked a fat roll into the trident.
A paladin of the Order of the Wall, not a champion of the paladins of the Order of the Wall. So many names.
Yep, so many champions and paladins.
So the Harbinger's feat is, for 1 round, advancing enemy models that end their movement in her command range, which is a mighty 12 inches. Closer to...
that's like literally some casters' control ranges.
Like, Madrak is jealous.
Yeah.
Closer to her than they began, suffer an unboostable power 14 fire damage roll.
Yeah, and so that is going to be an area of like approximately here-ish, right? Yeah. Sorry for my MS Paint skills here. But what that means is that power 14, what that threatens is like, I guess this sniper team doesn't want to wander into it.
Yes.
And like this mechanic, not mechanic, but electromancer?
Yes.
Right, so like, It'll probably happen at some point, if only to be a formality. But it will only happen when Ben's options are this dude wearing a jacket needs to run over to that flag.
Yes, and it is a combination of the models in Ben's army not worrying about an unboostable POW 14 and the positioning of Harbinger on the board, where she's currently very safe, but also less relevant with her feat. But honestly, Matt's not bringing the Harbinger for her feat.
Yeah. Not in this matchup, at least.
No.
And a big part of this matchup might have been like, and your army makes how many attacks in 1 round? Cool, I'm going to play Harbinger, right? Because like, what's the upper limit of attacks that his army generates? Is like, you have all of the randomized spooled guns from the tridents. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like, that can crank. That's like could be like 9 apiece, right? And then you have like the AFG has like 2, right, if it aims, or whatever. And then you have a couple other shots like Gareth and like Moros.
Yeah, the Electromancers, but those are not high quality attacks.
Yeah,
and they will be shrugged off in a lot of cases.
And it's actually now that I think about it, this army does bring a lot of attacks, I guess. So maybe I think I was probably kind of wrong in that assessment a little bit. It does have a shocking number of attacks for so few models.
A shocking number.
Oh, wait, was like there was no shock or lightning what?
Well, he has Electromancers.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I'll accept that. You know what? That's like a B. That's a B pun. Good, I'll take it.
B pun.
B plus. Yeah, someone was asking where the clock went to. That's because I like to draw on the screen sometimes, and when I do that, a lot of
we lose the
our heads up display goes away, so it's not blocking when I'm trying to draw. Ooh, them doubles.
It was on Ben's clock because he was taking a feat attack.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this. Is last turn was Gareth's feet turn, but Gareth's feet turn is actually your opponent's turn.
Yes.
So you'll probably see a lot of that happening this turn as Matt does a thing, and then Ben gets to react to it with his feet.
And Matt is starting to get aggressive. He has a Paladin of the Order of the Wall in Ben's zone to prevent him from scoring so that he can try to catch up on scenario a little bit.
Yeah, this is now you have to kill this obnoxious model, right? There's this guy who doesn't want to die. So like literally his whole gimmick, and now you got to try and kill him. But and this isn't a situation where he's like, I need Ben to commit the resources. This is a situation where he says, I need Ben to commit the time to kill this model.
Yes. Like he is definitely
Oh,
aware.
no.
Oh,
Hey,
Hills. That's
And that's like the most model-friendly hill possible. It's literally a flat thing. It's like a pizza box.
yes.
That's like been crushed.
And it's still
And I'm actually going to pull away the HUD here, just so we can even see our bad boys here. We talked about these guys as kind of our Narnia MVPs, right? These are our guys who are out here, and basically what Ben's been doing with the whole game is he walks up. Oh, man, we got to talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But let me finish my statement. They walk up, they shoot a thing, and then they reposition back, and they just kind of do that the whole game. And what happened there, the Hand of Silence walked up, and I apologize that we just missed this roll in the camera. Iris took her feet shot and just straight up killed the dude.
Yep.
So that probably is a feel bad for Matt over there. He's probably not wild about that result.
But Matt has definitely understands the state of the game and that he cannot just continue playing the way he was playing last turn.
Yeah.
And expect the clock advantage to stay in his favor.
I mean, the nice thing about Matt here is time is on his side in the sense that he can spend as long as he wants going into the tank and like calculating out a turn and figuring out, okay, where do I need to be this turn? Where do I need to be next turn as well? What models do I need to do those things? He could spend literally 10 minutes doing that, pass the clock, and be like, cool, I'm still ahead of you on clock time, Ben. Go.
Yes.
Right?
Matt's game is more about positioning at this point than killing models.
I like Telemachus here in Twitch chat. Yeah, Hand of Silence falling off the hill was just the RP of so he's just role playing, getting shot and killed by Iris. All right, we got some dude bros. I think also like the secret sauce here in Matt's list of these hammer dwarves. There's going to be a point when when Ben's going to go, holy crap, I totally forgot those guys were there, and they're going to charge and just demolish something. Because there's like so many key models. There's so many moving parts to Matt's list of things that you want to kill but can't.
I mean, do you think that the Hammer Dwarves are going to struggle because the Arcantric Force Generator is just going to put rifts on them every turn? Like, it can just make sure that there's difficult terrain in front of it.
What does their Attendant Priest give them again?
That is a good question.
Yeah, I don't double check. We'll double check.
We will check War Room.
Oh, no, wait, hold on. Doesn't Crusader's Call give Relentless or something?
Crusader's Call will give them... It might just give them Pathfinder.
I remember. I'm confusing it with True Path as a problem. I've got that. I got Crusader's Call and True Path mixed up in my head, so I need to see the text again.
You've got the playtest brain?
Yeah, I got Dev's brain going on here. Well, I mean, that's not even – that's just like there's two spells that are very similar.
Mm-hmm. The Attendant Priest does a lot of things, but none of them is Pathfinder.
Okay. Womp, womp, womp. Also, like, Scarith is probably going to need to go and put his attack into that Crusader that's sitting in front of his flag.
Yeah.
Moros is right there. Moros will, with some help, take out a heavy for sure.
And Crusader's Call does not give Pathfinder either, so that might be
okay, I was thinking True Path then is the one I had in my brain. Pardon me. There's a lot of Matt figuring out like what can contest, what needs to be contesting at all times. How can I go and contest your zone? How can I be on the flag? How can I check distances? This is a lot of particulars going on especially because of Ben feeded a very good time. Mm-hmm. He said, "Hey, I'm ahead on CP.
Yeah,
I've got a little bit more of like an aggressive board position. I'm going to feat so that it's harder for you to react past turn, right?"
Yes, and he got a lot of work out of that feat. He might not have killed very many models, but he got a lot of work out of it.
It looks like some of the initiates are kind of figuring out their stuff
Ralph
here.
Troll, there used to be painting requirements for certain
formats. This is Masters,
formats.
which Masters format does not have a painted requirement. In general, we do our very best to get painted armies on stream because we like people to look at pretty armies. But there's every once in a while when, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, is Matt's a WTC player, and we speculate that he's probably literally practicing his pairing for WTC, and it's because Matt, if you're familiar with Matt at all, he does usually play with painted armies. And this is probably like an ongoing project that he's recently started.
Mm-hmm. And something like Masters at Lock and Load GameFest 2019 is a great place to get a lot of quality games in.
Let's see. So they went past turn here, back to Ben, and I believe that what I just heard in my ear from Jack is that the Retribution's still at 3 CP, but Matt went up to 3. He would have scored his own zone there.
Mm-hmm. And if I were Ben right now, I don't think I'd know how to deal with that Crusader standing right in front of his flag.
Well, I think so. Scarith is a weapon master, so
Okay.
charging a weapon master Dragoon is usually pretty BA.
Yeah.
Moros is standing. Let me actually pull up the. So Scarith could just like get a charge, right? He can get a full charge there and probably still be touching the flag, right? Or repo into it.
Yeah, he could repo back to it for sure.
Moros is standing right here. Moros can just walk over, especially if you like. There's a couple things like one. I mean, it's Def 10. You don't need to boost any hits, but you can be spicy and like try and knock it down with this gun. You could try and get slams. Gareth has got mortality, right? That's an armor debuff.
He just cast it on the Crusader.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's
so maybe that Crusader's going to go down real quick.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate that the choir couldn't get warding
spells,
on them, so that he couldn't do that.
Pretty decent roll. 9, very average.
Did I just hear him say he took 15 to the 3? That is a lot of damage.
Well, Gareth's gun's pretty big, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
so.
that's a big step right there.
Hey, did we talk about a charging Feign Knight? I think we did.
We did.
Swings and hits. I think that's what we wanted to see as a damage roll. Holy smokes, that was a big one. That's
but
still
that one is
good right there.
Wow,
that's a pretty decent roll.
14 more damage.
He's taking 14 on 3, but you can see right there in Matt's little phone, he's got 3 boxes left on the 2. So he's probably going to eat like maybe a Moros.
He could shoot it's actually in a great position to put a rift shot from the AFG on it.
Yeah, or you could also get really spicy because doesn't Iris just have deadly shot or whatever?
She does.
He'd be like 3 damage. You say, "Pacow."
Funny you should bring that up.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, these are Electromancers. They're going to pulse fire. That's going to give him a bunch of damage rolls. So there's 2 damage rolls. He's just going to swing the fences, right?
Yeah,
he just needs to.
And
yep. So he gets pulled off.
Turns out it was less of an issue than I thought it was.
I think we both kind of slept on mortality.
Yes. But this is also why Ben is in the semifinals of the Masters, and we're hanging out talking about it.
Yeah. We got a Road to War trigger, by the way, just hit on the Harpy. What that little movement was. Excuse me. Which is, so he's actually still completing his activation as he's rolling some hot fire on those pulse fire shots from the Electromancers. Yeah, you can see some damage rolls, some big hitter damage rolls coming out. It doesn't need much to hit. Minoth, in general, is lower on the defensive side, a little higher on the defensive side, as it were. Like a bigger armor, a little bit more boxes, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
A little lower defense. Well, so he really wants to. Oh no, we gotta. Oh no, no Harpy. Oh god, the huge manatee.
Board state.
Judge, game state. Oh god. Okay. Stream's canceled. All right, the Harpy is back to where he was a second ago.
Crisis averted.
Yep. Burn this place to the ground. It's lawlessness here at Lock and Load 2019. Players throwing their models all over the place. All right, Ben's now he's figuring out where he's putting his next attacks. So that Trident A, as we designated him earlier.
Was it Trident A or Trident 1?
A. for above the camera.
Oh.
He's figuring out where he's gonna like head bonk people, right?
Yes.
This is what he does. So
He's got a lot of dudes over there that he needs to smash.
yeah, and I think he's probably gonna go left to right here because basically Trident A is the only Trident that can attack any of the models on its left position without a lot of like overcommitment of model movement. Mm-hmm. Oh no, he's actually gonna bop that Paladin guy. He's getting martyred though.
Yeah.
Double checking the command range to make sure everything is kosher. I think they agree that he is within the 12 inches. Mm-hmm. And Harvey is back up and back down to 10 hit points.
Yes.
So healing and focused expenditure
Which
basically took her down to terminal levels. And then
the way Matt's been rolling, at 10 hit points, that's like 8 martyrs.
Yeah. Matt's had some very good martyr rolls, which is compensating for his non-existent tough rolls.
Yes. I have found when I play Harbinger, a tough roll and then a martyr for 2.
Yep.
When I take martyrdom damage, I'm taking like 9 and 10 damage from single rolls. Which
it's
is
impressive since
significant.
you only roll a D3.
Yes. That's how bad I am at Harbinger.
Yeah, this has turned into like Ben is rolling some attacks against that unit that are we know what the results of them. Every attack's going to be a dude dies,
yes.
And then Matt goes through the decision tree, right, of figuring out is this a dude that needs to live now or can he die now, right? Mm-hmm. Pardon. And a lot of people, kind of put the smash on the Harby list for being, you just have a bunch of dudes standing around not dying, but
yes.
There is. It's not as simple as just pressing the martyr button every single die roll.
Yes.
Right? It's like taxing mentally.
Yes.
The first round through the game, you're like, oh yeah, martyr, this is great. And then you get to this point in the game. We talked about this earlier, where like turns 4 and 5 are gonna be the ones that matter. This is where Matt goes, does this guy need to die or can he live? And this is where you start stressing out about this list. This is where the intensity of this list comes in.
Mm-hmm. Which is, it's also important in the early rounds for the Harbinger player not to over-martyr on things that don't need to be martyred. Like, that you need that experience.
Jack Davenport on Facebook asked real quick, can I ask an Infernals question? Sure, but I might not answer depending on what the question is. All right, so now it looks like, so what happened is the Trident basically did what the Trident could do as much as he could do it.
Yes. And
then what's the light jack? This is the Chimera probably. Yeah, the Chimera's going to go. He's got the ball hands, right? He's holding them tennis balls. And he's going to walk in there and bop some dudes. And again, this is going to be a cool, start.
Martyr for 1.
Hey, martyr for 1. Hey. Yeah, but this is where he's just swinging. He's just rolling the dice to force Matt to make the tough choices now.
Yes. And
here's the other important part about this. This is
that was a martyr for 3. Which
I think
is
this is also, that puts Harvey down to 4.
Yeah.
I think this is what's kind of important here too. The notice is those first couple turns of the game, Ben wasn't tapping the clock to Matt for martyr checks and tough checks, and now when you get to this point, and this is not necessarily just for him to save a couple extra seconds on his clock. This is because he's putting the fire at Matt's toes of, cool, dude, start thinking about this. You need to start wasting your clock and making decisions on your martyrs, right?
And he does get that Paladin of the Order of the Wall out of his zone.
And then he kind of cruises on up there. That's probably a Road to War trigger. What is the Chimera doesn't have like he's got the Apparition, not the, I was thinking like the Repo. No, he's got Apparition on him. He teleports around.
Oh.
Hidicule asks, when a horror, so we're talking about Infernals real quick, is summoned, does this pop into existence or to come through a portal? That's actually an excellent question. Not from me. That's definitely like a Doug Seacat kind of question.
Yes.
So what I would do is I'd actually throw that question to maybe like social media or something. Just kind of pop it onto our Facebook, and we will send that off to Doug and actually get an answer. Maybe we'll post it, or maybe we'll do a lore chat or something. In fact, I would not be surprised if we do a lore chat soonish and we kind of talk about all the cool niceties in front of us as we ramp up to the Oblivion release.
In fact, we don't have the schedule in front of us, but I bet that Doug Seacat is doing at least one hangout where he just talks with fans and community members about
in my
Infernals.
headcanon, the person like falls to the ground and like their essence coalesces into a horror. That's where I'm envisioning it.
That
personally.
sounds impressive.
And I kind of like it because I like the concept that character's not necessarily dying; they're just like fainting. All right, so we got more attacks coming in from Trident B, forcing some more tough checks and such.
It looks like Ben is moving up aggressively enough that it is not going to be easy for Matt to repeat his actions last turn and get things into the zones and slow down Ben's scoring.
So this is some gunshots. This is a shield guard. He's shield guarding real quick. I don't think it caused any damage, it looks like. Shield guard again. Second shield guard, other guy.
And this will be on. It's back on Matt's clock. So
yeah, they're checking the shield guard range, making sure he's within 3. Just making some swings and some misses here. Oh, because they're firing into melee right now, FYI, is kind of where some of these, maybe I'm hitting my own guy, rolls that Ben is making. And no tough roll again from Matt, but another martyrdom for Cheapo. He's getting away from some bargain martyrdoms today. He's putting Harby to 3, though.
Yes.
Now, if I was Matt, do you ride that line and go, listen, I've been rolling 1 for my martyrdom?
This round, his martyrdoms have not been as great as previous rounds. I believe he's martyrdom 4 times for a total of 7 hit points.
Stu asks in Twitch chat whether or not he can score the middle flag. We are all pretty confident here without me walking over and measuring the table that the middle flag is pretty universally contested at this point. Actually, if you want to hit up the old top down Rooney for me, T-Bunny, we'll take a look. I feel like I bet the intent of this guy is to be in 4.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bet that they both acknowledge that's 4, and that's probably why that guy is just sitting there and not closer, because he's basically been sitting there the whole game. So, and then obviously you got this big boy, right? So I think we can basically assume for most intents and purposes this flag just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right. At least until we're on like round 7, 5 minutes left on the clock, madly tapping back and forth.
If someone's going to be scoring on that flag, the game is probably over already.
Yep. Excuse me.
But it appears as though Ben is again going to go up on scenario at the end of this turn.
Because I think he's always going to be pushing it, that 1 bonus CP kind of thing is what he's always going for. Also, we have a question for the Jeffs, which is you and I, and they're asking what horror or master you prefer. Like, I presume your favorite. I know what mine is.
That is, for me, that's going to be Omodamos.
Omodamos? Oh, I have to say it like Omodamos?
Omodamos?
No, I don't know.
Omodamos?
That's my ASMR Omodamos channel. I like...
Yes.
Oh, wait, do you know what that authoritatively, Tony? What is it? Okay,
Omodamos.
Tony says it is Omodamos. We know that authoritatively. Well, fine. Thanks for ruining my game, Tony.
Lore Master Jr. Tony.
I've never commentated again. You're just the dream killer.
He is not just a pretty face, folks.
Yeah, jeez.
But he is a pretty
Can't get away
face.
with anything here. And my favorite is I like Zadaroth. I just love the way she looks. I love what she does. She's kind of control-y. She's got this cool like helmet thing, the big book, and the octopus buddy. I don't know. I think that's sweet. And then I think my favorite horror is I always mess up. Tormentor, the big claw one.
Yes.
The melee one. Rah, rah, rah.
Yes.
But I also love the Desolator. Okay, I just love both the heavies. Wait, there's 3 heavies.
There's 3
I like the
heavies,
2
Soulstalkers.
crabby heavies.
Yes. I saw a game yesterday that was Omodamos charged in on a Blightbringer, and they were literally eye to eye.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like the model's
so
so big.
big.
Yeah.
Retribution goes up to 5?
Yeah, so Retribution's up to 5. Can you double-check Minoth? Although Minoth, no, they wouldn't have scored because I can see there's that Harpy contesting the zone. So this puts Ben. So this is kind of like the interesting. This is like where the game like gets really compelling because this should be bottom of 4, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
Bottom of 4, 5 CP for Ben, 3 for Matt, which means we're kind of like running out of time, as it were, for rounds for our 7-round game, right?
Yes.
But Ben is also under that 10-minute clock. You know,
Yes.
he's down from 4 to 3 digits, and
He
that's like a big psychological thing. Oh, and then I said Ben is under 10 minutes. Matt has got an eternity as far as the clock time is concerned at this point.
Yes. Ben is at the point where his time is becoming very precious. No.
We see a question from someone in Twitch chat. Masson is 86, says Ben is 6. No, we just got confirmation from our floor judge that it's 5. But we will. You know what? Let's double check. Why don't you double check with Jack for us and make sure? They think that he might be at 6, but Jack did confirm at 5. So I'm going to go with Jack for now.
Where would he have gotten the third point that round? Because he has his zone and his flag.
Let's see where they're at.
The
Pardon?
score is accurate.
Current score is accurate. So it is 5-3. I think the question was probably he was at. Yeah, but actually, I think that's a good question, actually. I kind of see where this, because he scored this, right?
Yeah.
And he scored this, right? Or did he not score this?
He did score that. That was his. It was 3-3.
I'm going to assume that we lost something in the visual noise and that the players and Jack, who's the floor judge, know what the accurate score is. So we'll just ride with what they'd say.
And the Hierophant just healed the Harbinger back up to 6 hit points.
Okay, so Harby, and then she's also got a big stack of focus. So she's in a buttercake land here to figure out what her hit point total wants to end up at, right?
Yes. And someone in Twitch chat commented that it's easy to get through 3 turns in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it can be. When you get to that point in the game.
Matt's not going to make that easy. He's going to continue to try to contest zones and climb back into scenario and force Ben to make attacks.
All right, is Harbinger maybe finding? Okay, so Harbinger looks like we're doing he's basically seeing, can Harbinger cruise around her friends here, stay out of kill box, get behind the wall. Basically what he wanted to do here is he's trying to get to a position. What he's afraid of is a universe where Trident A, our friend at the top of the screen, maybe swings around and starts putting gunshots into her and threatening her in melee.
So,
or he wants to extend the range of his martyrdom, right?
The question on whether or not Ben is at 5 or 6 is because there's a mechanic standing on that center flag.
Oh, and I see. No, I think we.
People are wondering why the mechanic is on that flag if it was contested.
Sure.
So, and that might just be because the mechanic had nothing else to do except get in a position where Matt has to waste attacks killing a model standing on the flag.
Or knows he can't walk away from the flag.
Yes. Especially since there is a Harpy in Matt's zone, and he's going to have to commit something to it. Although he does have a Crusader standing right in front of it.
Yeah. And Matt's just like, I think Matt has figured out that he can't get where he wants behind the wall and stay out of kill box and like have the movement to get there. So I think he's kind of like, well, time for some dudes to stack up in front of the Harby and be a living wall.
I believe when they were deploying, Matt said that if he had trouble finding a legal place to put that wall.
Oh,
and
yeah.
If Harbinger is all the way up against the wall, she will be out of kill box by a hair.
Sure. But I don't think we had the movement to get to that position, hopefully, potentially.
Although I question,
there's some actual damage being recorded on Ben's side of the table.
Yeah.
These are just some attacks.
On the Harpy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right there in the center. I'll even point that out so people know where the action is taking place.
Got to get that Harpy out of his zone.
Yeah, that little bad boy. And pulled. So battle, Hand of Vengeance attack, yada yada, all that, or not Hand of Vengeance attack, the Hand of Vengeance bonus, all that kind of fun stuff led to probably a not particularly powered up Crusader just bopping that dude off the table.
Yep. I mean, Crusaders hit hard.
Yeah, they're like 10 points of punch you in the face.
Yes.
And also speed 4.
Now, if I were Matt right now, I would be seriously tempted to send Crusaders into the middle of the board at this point.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and...
Harbinger just cast Crusader's Call and then spent 3 focus to heal herself up to 9.
So he's trying to get a little bit of speed to get out there.
Is probably safely 3 to 4 martyrs.
Yep. Jack's question about Infernals was about how their core rules work. I'm not going to kind of slide into all the specifics of it right now, Jack, but what I will tell you is at the end of Lock and Load, maybe like Monday, Tuesday time-ish, we will be posting basically the final rules PDF of how Infernals work from the Oblivion book, which is where those rules will actually be found. We will probably post something sometime this week of their finalized rules so that people who are going home with their models from Lock and Load have the finalized thing in front of them. They're not using the kind of hearsay from chatting with us here on the spot.
Yes.
And then Ralph is asking, this is the first game of the day. This is actually the semifinals of the Masters event that began yesterday.
They ran 4 rounds yesterday.
Yep. But this is our first stream game of the day,
Yes.
so... All right, we got some more bopping going on.
And
obviously that was that Crusader up there. So
Yeah,
just
I
was trying to kind of figure out where that was happening. So that Crusader cruised on up here, and he's got 5 boxes left. 5 boxes left.
Oh, that's an actual box.
I'm like the next Bob Ross. And now the Paladin Bro is getting on up there, and he's going to give him a paddle in. Whoa!
That is a big old...
Hey, is that our first death for Ben? No, there has to be like a random
the Harpy.
mechanic. Yes,
the Harpy just went down earlier.
Well, that like literally degrades Ben's force by a third, but
Yes.
it might not matter at this point.
And Matt did start committing Crusaders to the middle of the board.
Yep. Well, so this is like what Matt has to do, right? He has to start putting models in Ben's zones.
Tony, can we get a top-down view so we can see exactly how committed to that top zone Matt has become?
Yeah. So let's go.
Matt has a Crusader and a Paladin of the Order of the Wall in Ben's top zone.
Yeah, so right now we got these friends here, right? These guys are making some attacks here. They're obviously not in the zone, but he's starting to put He's starting to put some points in there.
Yeah.
Right? And I think he also recognizes he needs to start like probably putting some investment to ensure that Ben doesn't get to score those flags anymore.
Yes. I think Matt's at the point where Harbinger's not helping him keep up with his attrition as well as he would like her to.
We're also figuring out where the rough terrain templates kind of settled.
Are plaguing those dwarves, those Forge Guard. And the Crusader, too.
So there's just a Crusader just kicking it on the flag. Confirming that he's taking a little bit of damage.
He's considering putting that Crusader into the Fane Knight.
Oh, okay.
And here go the dwarves. They are running forward.
Yeah, I think he's probably just going to...
At this point, he is... So the dwarves look like they're positioning to either...
So this is multifaceted, right? This is, one, minimize how many templates you got to put on me next turn to slow me down, right, by spreading my dudes out a little bit. Giving them their little Wall of Steel buff, right, because they got Wall of Steel, right? So you see they're in pairs to be a little higher armor. And putting them in position that even if they get terrain on them, that might mean that they can't charge, but they'll still be able to run and put a bunch of bodies by the flag.
And they are currently positioned to where next turn they can either go into the Fane Knight or the Electromancers, depending on what he needs them to do.
Shermify asks, when does the new SR go live? The SR 2019 should go live basically right after Lock and Load. So basically sometime middle of the week.
Yes. And I am excited because Oh, we have an update.
So it looks like Matt's going to 4.
And Ben
And-
stays at 5.
Yep. And this should be, what, top of 5 for us? Is that correct?
Yes, we're going into the top of 5. I was saying, I have enjoyed the new scenarios in 2019 immensely.
Ashbury, we all of the stuff that we've announced, we don't have any things we're holding on to at the end of the con, but if you go to our YouTube and our Twitch, you can watch our keynote videos. You're going to find out all of our announcements there. Anything you didn't see, it doesn't exist. I mean, it exists. It doesn't exist for your eyes yet.
Conceptually, it exists.
Yeah. It exists in some states.
It both exists and does not exist.
Yeah, it does not exist in the sense that we don't have any further information that we want to publicly announce at this time.
They're Schrodinger's robots.
Yeah, the Schrodinger's convergence. But yeah, go check out our keynote if you haven't seen all of our cool announcements. And what Ashbury's asking about here is we hinted, we teased, we titillated a little bit of there might have been a convergence logo and some other fun stuff that came up during the keynote.
Not only that, but we announced Warcaster Neo Mechanica, which
is our new
surprised
game.
me. I did not
game.
know that was coming.
Yeah, we've been we've had a pretty
pumped about that.
We in the dev team have had a pretty tight-lipped about that. We weren't ready to share that broadly until we wanted to make a big splash announcement here at Lock and Load. So we got a new game coming next year.
Yes.
I don't have any details we're going to share with you yet, but
Convergence is playing a big part in that too.
Maybe we will. A little bit of shoulder shrug here, a little bit of squiggly biddly. Let's head back over to our boys over here. We got a big trident-shaped hole right there in the middle of the table that I think Ben is taking advantage of the open board space to kind of get more models into contesting, put some more attacks in the models. He has to kind of choose his attacks pretty carefully at this point because he is under that critical 10-minute clock. Let's see if how things like martyrdom and tough luck hold up for.
Ralph, you may not have seen any new Kador. However, remember that Kador is getting access to Menoth very soon through is it the Warriors of the Old Faith theme? Mm-hmm. And that's like a whole new expansion for your faction.
Oh, those are our cool official, over in Twitch chat, Kung Hop asks about our sweet casino dice. Yeah, we have some dope. Oh, hold on, let's see what the little judge call is here. But yeah, those are our cool Privateer Press casino dice. I don't think we sell those at all, but they're dope.
We sold them a couple years at Lock and Load, and they were very popular.
Yeah, limited edition.
And sold out very quickly.
And so what? We got the clock paused. Jack, who is sporting some crazy green hair these days, by the way.
Yes.
It's a combination line of sight and range check, basically. This is where is the range I can be at / see a thing. All right, so Jack says no line of sight there. Sorry, you're gonna have to do a little squiggly wiggly. Tony just let us know that he was concerned the stream had stopped for a second because they were all so perfectly motionless on the screen that he started sweating. He was like, "Oh no,
goes into an
AV
panic mode."
Yeah, and then he died.
Now, I think that Matt has done a very good job of making Ben spend his clock this turn.
Yes, this is the strategy, right?
Yes. There's some confusion about how damage was put on which Crusader, and they are correcting that now.
Yeah.
And they are doing it on Matt's clock because it was Matt's error.
Yep. So essentially what happened is somewhere along the line, Matt's got his models marked, right, so he knows which one's which. But unfortunately, at some point in this process, he got himself a little confused. He tracked some damage on the other Jack, and they were just saying, "Oh, hey, hold up, man. I'm sorry. I'm cheating you on a Crusader. Should just not be here, by the way. Let me pull that guy and remove the damage on the other guy." So they were just backing that up real quick and wanted to make sure everything was on the up and up. All right.
And Ben is back in the tank, which is dangerous at this point as he comes down to 6 minutes.
Well, I think this is I think he recognizes the fact that there's probably going to become a point when he just goes pass clock, right? And and plays the past clock game. And I think he just is trying to set himself up for a situation that when that happens, he
doesn't lose.
He doesn't lose the CP lead, right? Ralph Troll is saying he needs Butcher 4. Yeah, Butcher 4 coming as a Doom Reaver solo in Riot Quest. Riot Quest, Hungerford and I have been demoing Riot Quest this weekend here at Lock and Load.
It was hugely popular. The crowds around the Riot Quest demo tables last night were very impressive, and everyone was having a lot of fun.
Yeah, and all of the Riot Quest models
that
we've shown will also have War Machine Hordes rules, and one of those Riot Quest models is Butcher Unleashed or Butcher Unchained or whatever he is. No. He gone crazy, and he's got him little trouser pants on.
Yes. Speaking of Riot Quest, who is your favorite character from the Riot Quest starter?
I mean, let's open this question up.
Okay.
Who's my favorite Riot Quest character? I want to answer about that question and my favorite one.
Okay.
So let's see. My favorite from the starter is Gubbin.
Yes. High five.
Is that also your favorite?
Yes.
All right.
How can you not love a goblin with a sack full of dynamite?
Yeah. No, he's my favorite. I put him into play all the time, even when he's not the right choice to put in play, just because I like to have him durdling around the table. My favorite, and it's very likely we haven't announced this, so spoiler alert here. My favorite is Flogwog the Filcher.
Okay, I don't think I've seen him.
Okay. Well, if we haven't announced him, then I'm going to count on everyone here to not say anything about it for me.
Outside of the starter,
keep that on the shush.
I'm a big fan of the Wolf with No Name, which we have shown concept art for.
Yep.
I think he is extremely cool looking. Ralph is a fan of Iris.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Iris model is great, too.
Yes. She has, like, magma pistols now. That was a big roll.
Yeah, it's like Magano, something. I don't know, some weird arcane word we made up.
The point is that they spit lava.
Yeah. Gorman, too. Yeah, there's a new Gorman, the Mad, coming in one of the earlier releases, I'm pretty sure. He's got, like, a big, instead of, like, throwing, like, grenades, he's mixed all of his sludge together, and he just fires that out of, like, a big Ghostbusters cannon.
It's like a goo blunderbuss.
Yeah. It's like something. Hey, who here remembers Nickelodeon, the show, like, you can't do that on television?
Yes.
No, it was the variety show with kids. That was, you can't do that.
Yeah. Or you can't say that on
or whatever
something
it was.
like that.
Anyways, like a big, like, slime cannon is kind of what I envision. Like the old Nickelodeon, remember they had all that slime cannon stuff? You ain't that old. I am that old. In fact, we are both 40.
Yes.
Jeff just turned 40, right?
I turned 40 a couple weeks ago.
And I will be turning 39 in a couple months. So we are in fact, yes, that old. And while I acknowledge that we have many venerable veteran graybeards in our community, for which I respect you greatly, we are, in fact, pretty old.
Yes, and we are, I like to think that we are where the community is getting to, which is we are getting on in years, and we're at the point where we can start introducing our kids, if we have them, to War Machine.
Mm-hmm. All right, Moros has got Concentrate Power, by the way, and he is going Hamboni. Oh, okay. I like this play. So what's going on here is Moros just got Concentrated Power, which is the Arcanist ability to give him a little bit of extra strength. I'm going to assume he also has several focus on him, and he's going after the objective, and I think he basically, like, one or two shot of that thing.
Yeah.
So
and now
he's just kind of clearing some dudes at this point. But this is going to give another CP. So, Tony, if you want to do me a favor real quick and slap another CP on our boy there. Ben's going up to 6 on that one.
Just killed an objective.
Yep. So I think what's going to happen here is I think we'll get to about the 130 mark or even sooner, and Ben's going to tap clock. And then I think he's just going to keep tapping clock, essentially, for the rest of this game.
Yep. Yeah, he just moved the Electromancers up just to tie up the Dwarves.
Yep.
So, and he just scored 2 more points. So, Ben is now up by 4. They're
double checking their CP math here.
He was at 5. They're trying to determine if Ben has won. Yes, that is game.
Okay, so it looks like they were. I think that came as literally came as a surprise to both of them.
Yes.
and that you see the handshake there. So what happens? What happened is as we knew, we were at 5-3, and so they went up points, and they were figuring out that Ben goes, okay, I got the objective, I got this flag, I got this flag, I got this zone, that gives me 4. I was at 5, right? And they're like, yeah, you're at 5. And he goes, supposed to be at 9, right? He's like, yeah, 9. And then you saw him count and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And he's like, cool. And you're at 4.
Game.
So the game's over. He's like, oh yeah. You won.
It just happens.
So yeah, there you go. So that was a little bit of an abrupt end, and we apologize for not kind of like catching it like there as it was happening in the moment. But yeah, so what ended up happening there is, and Matt's kind of working through like what his strategy was going to be for this following turn, right?
Yeah.
Because they both kind of expected that turn to happen. So, anyways, real quick, congratulations to Ben for winning over Matt McWaters in the semifinal match of the Masters tournament here at Lock and Load. With Retribution taking a scenario victory on Mirage. So Ben will advance to the finals.
And you can see what they're doing now is what I love seeing from every good player, where the game is over and then they are talking through how they could have played better and becoming – that's how you get to be a better player, right?
Yeah. And they're talking about a lot of things of like, hey, this is exactly what they do.
How
they
to play their best game.
Yeah, and so they're figuring out, like, this is the move I made for this reason. This is where my models were going to go. I think they both felt like they were in the game, and that's kind of what we're hearing through the player mics because we have a kind of a low roar in our ear.
Yeah.
Is they're basically saying it was a close one, it was a good one, and there was an opportunity for either of us to win this game. We both felt like we were in this game essentially the whole time, right? So double G dubs. Yeah, so double G's to our boy Ben here for winning via scenario.
Yes.
What do we got coming up next on our docket here, T-Bone? Oh, hey, it's me. Hi.
It is you.
Sorry, I'm like in my
me.
my fat guy rest here.
We have the Masters Finals will be next.
So Masters Finals is going to be coming up next. That will be our boy Ben here. And we don't know who won the other round, so we'll have to get that information. We'll probably find out about the same time as you guys do when the stream goes live. So keep yourself tuned to our stream, our social media. You'll see when we go live. We're going to cut here and go to a little bit of a break as we find out, how's the other games resolving upstairs in the tournament room. And then we will be bringing you the Masters Finals here in a little bit.
Yes.
Check
and
back.
We will see you soon.
Yeah. Hey. Bye.